So those are our eco flags that I had gotten a grant from the Institute, Sustainability Institute, for printmaking students to make eco flags for eco action for printmaking students, a silk screen from my illustrations for a book, Zazu Dreams. So I'm going to be reading a series of interconnected seeming non sequiturs that parallel the ecological and racial social justice crises of extinction that we face on planet Earth. Silver Stories, Book 1, Chapter 1. Image 1. She told me she wrote her stories across the walls of her room in tiny silver ink that disappeared and reappeared depending on how the light of day or lamp by night illuminated the silver lines. She told me several voices could be heard throughout the room, some softer and indistinct, while other voices and even words could be heard more clearly. Fragments of sentences unfolded, she said, weaving together mostly non sequiturs. Sometimes, making sense, the words provoked a gasp or cry from the depths of her emotions she hadn't known were there, needing to be released. Voices and text emerged, converged, or disappeared, depending where she stood and how she negotiated her space, she said. She recognized images from memories unseen but somehow known, all compressed safely, precariously between thick sheets of plate glass suspended on walls of her room, hovering in between the stories written in silver script within the confines of shapes of shadows, of waxen bouquets of flowers strewn here and there. Reading and rereading these silver words, she knew she was not alone, but in the middle of many destinies, many parallel worlds. Hearing these fleeting voices as interjections, conversations she came upon, declarations of something real but still enigmatic, she wrote them down in the back pages of books that had neither provoked their sudden appearance nor explained their origin or purpose. Short circuits in her brain, senility of some sort jolting into her present coherence, or perhaps something far more wonderful and even euphoric, a recognition of her expansive soul traveling time and space. These interjections she later transcribed in silver text across the walls of her room. Book 5, Chapter 1. Image 2. Hello, can we talk? I have some news about our trip. I think we should reconsider our options, she says. Here's my cousin Moises' letter from Puerto Rico. March and April are the best months. The weather is just warming up, and the sea is also warmer and freer from seaweeds cleaned up after the storms, particularly after Hurricane Maria. I would recommend the south side of the island because the water is calmer now than on the Atlantic side, which has some beautiful calm beaches such as Luquillo, 30 miles east of San Juan, and Isla Verde in San Juan. Most have been cleaned enough by now, at least in minute areas for a few visitors. We have a friend who owns a very nice hotel called Copa Marina. You can check it out on the internet. It's been repaired enough for a dozen guests. In San Juan, I would only stay at the Caribe Hilton or the El San Juan Hotel and Casino. The latter was very busy with discos and several nightclubs before the hurricanes. They're beginning to pick up life again, but be prepared for areas that still have no clean water or even electricity. Much toxic debris has been shoveled away, but so much is still uninhabitable with pockets of foul chemical and foul gas smells. Winds blow nauseating odors from now mountainous landfills with toxic materials from our decimated homes. plastics, formaldehyde, asbestos. Image 3 and 4. The next best season is summer, when everyone goes to the beach, June or July, because of the heat. August and September are very hot. I would not recommend those months unless you intend to spend them in the water all the time. And be prepared for emergency evacuations, day or night, since violent new storms can pick up quickly. I would advise April or May, when the hotels are no longer charging premium winter rates. I know you're a swimmer, so be wary of getting caught in plastic debris. Fucking kidding me. Are you serious? I'm giving my talk. Get lost. Jesus fucking Christ.
Who's that?
Kara. There's nobody there anyway. I'm just gonna forget it. Seriously. I'm just gonna forget it. This is with this stupid fuck outside and all of this going on. Are you kidding me? Is that fair? Is this fair?
No, I'm really sorry that all of this has happened.
Yes, me too. I don't deserve this.
Hey, bring it down.
I do not deserve this shit.
Bring it down.
I don't even know, where are we? The machine is outside. God damn, what am I doing this for? What am I doing this for? Where are we? I don't even see where we are. I don't know how to get back on this thing. Okay. How do I get back on, Melanie?
What's on your screen right now?
The first part, I gotta go plug in because it's about to expire. Jesus Christ, what the hell? How does this guy go away?
Michaela, you wanted him to come, so stop it.
You keep quiet right now. Yeah, but not now.
Well, he did.
No, he didn't. Did he? This is so ridiculous. I give lectures all over the world, and this is what happens with the stupid Penn State shit.
Okay.
Stupid Penn State. Okay, where are we? I don't know how to get on.
What are you looking at right now currently
Looking
on
at
your
the same
screen?
thing. I'm looking at the first part of my PowerPoint.
Okay, is that with the debris? Also, Yvonne?
No, okay, no. Should I go down to?
Yvonne is trying to join the call.
Uh-huh.
Should I let her in?
Sure. Who's Yvonne? How do I get on?
You said you're looking at the first part of your PowerPoint right now?
Yeah, it's with the flags.
Okay. Does it say like PowerPoint at the top, like on the very top of the screen? Maybe.
It says PowerPoint, yes.
Oh, okay. And then do you have a Mac or a PC?
I have a PC.
Okay. So at the bottom of the screen.
No, I have a Mac. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I have a Mac.
Well, I think do you have like a taskbar at the bottom of the screen where you see the little Zoom icon?
Zoom icon. No. Should we just forget it? I don't care. You know, like Penn State is like the last thing on my agenda. This has never happened, and I'm on 4 or 5 Zooms a week, and I've never had so many stupid problems like with Penn State. It's like, here, let me click this and see if that takes me somewhere. Nope, probably not. Okay.
Like,
Okay. Let's forget it. I don't know.
Are you
So,
sure?
do I go to sign in?
I think you should just be looking for like the Zoom icon somewhere in your taskbar so you can open up Zoom again.
I don't know what the Zoom icon looks like.
It's like a blue square with a little camera
Yeah.
icon.
Is that it? I don't know. I don't know. That's not it. Okay. Can we do this another time and have them put it into the thing? Oh, that's Zoom. Wait, is that the, yes, here it is. Okay, good. What else is going to happen?
Okay, would you like to continue from where you left off?
Sure. Okay, we're talking about the hurricanes in Puerto Rico. Okay. Be prepared for emergency evacuations day or night since violent new storms can pick up quickly. I know you're a swimmer, so be wary of getting caught in plastic debris. Huge entanglements everywhere. The further out you swim, if you surf, you might prefer Rincon on the West Coast. I think we can go to the next image. Mom has had to move back to Aventura, Florida, so you won't see her in Puerto Rico. Our family home was destroyed from winds and flooding. Otherwise, you could have stayed with her. The hurricanes got to be much too frightening, but what is worse was the never-ending devastation, storm upon storm with no relief, and rarely any repair because of bureaucratic corruption. Take care, Micaela, mashallah. I love you, he wrote. That's all I heard from Moises before they disappeared. Image 5. Let's not go away. Let's stay here. I have to attend to the gardens anyway. Mine is a small regenerative farm, you know. I'm a fanatic, she says with a laugh. No self-destructive false economies for me. We do it all the way Nana and Papu taught us. We're traditional farmers, never seduced by consumer waste. We live in symbiosis with our land. No fucking extractive petroleum, pharmaceutical addicted cyber culture for me, she says. We thrive on ecological convivencia like our ancestors in Iberia and Morocco and Turkey. The only way for our planet to heal is by all of us, and I do mean all of us, reconsidering our suicidal consumption and our wanton waste of resources, she says. And remember, yes, yes, I know, I say, there is no such thing as waste until it is wasted. I've heard that a million times before. It's not a joke, she says. There is no plan B. Image 7. More and more of us still use ancient wisdoms, traditional, indigenous, Middle Eastern architectural and agricultural technologies, and ancient pharmacopoeias. They work. They are real solutions to our climate crisis pandemic and its needless tragedies of human and animal poisoning, plant, water, and air toxicity, causing epidemics of cancers and leukemias, causing forced migration, population displacement, and homelessness, leading to hundreds of thousands of climate refugees, she says. Okay, I respond. You need to learn to commit to symbiosis too, she says. Please, I have discussed this with you before. Transition now from your extractive, poisonous, industrial waste convenience culture to a regenerative, biocentric, ecological convivencia, she says. Chapter 2, image 7. I heard the piano pulse vibrating, spiraling rhizomes deep inside my head, expanding and contracting, swallowed by a black hole, swallowed by the deep, high-pitched rage and anguish of Nina Simone's strange, mournful, haunting voice. J'accuse. Mississippi, goddamn, she cried. Forgetting there is no plan B, living on another planet momentarily to survive, escaping Earth just in time. Go, she says, but do not stay. Go, she says. Go with Miles and August and Macy and Clarice. Go with Khaltoum to release to touch Duende, to touch euphoria together. Release from generations of grief, pain, rage. Fight, Mississippi, goddamn. Chapter 3, image 8 and 8A. Listen to me. Stephen Hawking says, everything we need to know is already within us, just waiting to be realized. And then finally, we can begin to draw down our insanities, doing the same thing over and over and over again, and expecting different results. Didn't we teach you the first law of thermodynamics, she asks? Energy can never be created or destroyed. Instead, it transforms. Dung beetles, sea slugs, hornflies, bats, mycelium fungi create methane, clean methane, carbon pollutants from our air, our land, our sea by devouring detritus. The next slide, please. Bats are crucial pollinators, I add. Yes, thanks for that, she says. They are becoming extinct. There is a reckless misconception, she says, that once used, things are no longer useful. Our consumer convenience, ecocidal waste mentality controls, directs most people's day-to-day behavior, she says. We have always had practical, workable solutions. Is anyone listening? Ironically, no. Image 9 and 10. Inside joke. Yes, there is a group of us who have retrofitted, redesigned, and rebuilt our homes, our cities, bridges, our communities far more efficiently and sustainably without using deadly Roundup and pesticides, without formaldehyde and poisonous petroleum, plastic flooring, plastic walls, windows, curtains, plastic carpets, clothing, medicines, skin lotions. Just to start with, the off gases are everywhere. So toxic, she says. The health of all our citizens must drive architectural designs and engineering. True cost, not false economies, must determine how we live. The health of our kids and grandchildren must not be left in the hands of greedy developers who don't recognize the long-term economic benefits of going green. The hell with them and their control over our lives with their reckless, short-sighted indifference, their après moi le déluge, let them eat cake mentality. Image 11. There are myriad examples of regenerative, deep time, symbiotic, slow and low technologies that work with natural systems such as the Qanat underwater waterways in Iraq, or how the Madan marsh people of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers use kasab reeds not only as building materials that you can see here for their floating homes in the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, but also as food, she says. Image 12. Dung has been an effective healing agent, along with willow bark, honey, salt, resins, and ambers from trees, used all over the world for centuries. And perhaps you've tasted Indonesian coffee from the roasted and fermented droppings, the shit, of the tropical luwak weasel. You can buy their coffee beans on Calder Alley from $100 to $660 per pound. There's an elite Batguana coffee too. So drop your skepticism. Image 13 and then 14. The sun's ultraviolet radiation releases bacterial gases from fecal matter. Let me say that again. The sun's ultraviolet radiation releases bacterial gases from fecal matter, from shit from crocodiles, milk-fed lambs, or humans, transforming potentially noxious material into antiseptic therapies and folk remedies for such wide-ranging health problems as dysentery, tuberculosis, deafness, amazing, athlete's foot, and bacterial infections. Did I tell you that my father was an herbalist and he had a botanica, Caribbean botanical gardens in Spanish Harlem for 45 years? Did I tell you that, Melanie? No.
No, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Image 15. Just think about waste-consuming creatures like sea slugs, dung beetles, and hornflies that perform indispensable services for our ecosystem. These are lessons we must learn if we are to survive as a species. Tragically, however, hornflies, dung beetles, and vultures, which you can see on the upper right side, too often flee the toxic pesticides-ridden corpses of whales and dolphin, fish, and birds that wash up on ocean beaches, aborting nature's life cycle because bodies of birds and fish are too often filled with plastic and toxic chemical pesticides. Listen, here's a quote. When properly prepared, dried, feces can be transformed from a harbinger of disease to a generator of entire economies of extraordinarily valuable medicines. Dry dung has antiseptic properties that stave off fungi and bacterial infections. Fecal matter is not only essential to nourish the soil, but also essential to the health and ecosystems of many insects, birds, and mammals. Coprophagous insects like butterflies, beetles, and maggots live entirely off nutrients in feces. Excrement is rich in trace minerals and yeast. It's 15% protein and quenches thirst since it's 65% water. Most animals that eat shit, however, do not do it for the bacteria. By ingesting feces, elephants, dogs, beavers, rabbits, and iguanas coat their digestive tract with flora that help break down food and fight infections. Feces deficient diets can cause health problems. Laboratory rats, deprived of their own feces, become malnourished, and turkeys and chickens raised in cages and unable to eat their mother's droppings develop more infections than free-range fowl. To curb salmonella outbreaks, battery industrial cage-based farmers now pour commercially produced fecal bacteria into chickens' drinking troughs. Image 16. I read that in a book I illustrated titled Zazu Dreams Between the Scarab and the Dung Beetle, a cautionary fable for the Anthropocene era, she says. Yes, I've read that book. My daughter Kara wrote it, I tell her. But I didn't know that industrial farmers pour commercially produced fecal bacteria into chickens' drinking troughs, I say. Totally stunned. Image 17. Another medicinal healing agent comes from the dragon blood tree that grows on barren slopes, mountain slopes of Yemen's Socotra Island in the Arabian Sea, she says. The dragon blood tree is found nowhere else on Earth and lives up to 500 years. It looks like an umbrella blown inside out, or like a tree turned upside down with its roots as branches. And it oozes a scarlet colored resin, a frankincense resin, that has been used for centuries, as you well know, for medicinal purposes to heal not only wounds, but even depression and anxiety, like other amber resins from trees. Dragon blood resin was used by Roman gladiators to heal their battle wounds. Image 18. Likely you're familiar with salt used for healing and for food preservation. Salt was also has also been used as a building material in the Middle East without producing waste. Both salt and sand are surprising sources of sustainability. Salt is good for our health and can be made into low-cost building materials, into low-cost, beautiful buildings that actually absorb city smog. Yes, salt absorbs city smog. We can learn a lot from the Saharan oasis of Tagaza that is made entirely of rock salt. Image 19. Salt has historically been used symbolically to deter evil. It's used in amulets. And of course, Gandhi's Salt March in 1930 in India was a nonviolent act of civil disobedience to protest egregious British taxation. Why don't we learn from Gandhi's model to resist agribusiness and big pharma and adapt collective action? Image 20. And then the next few. Aside from water, concrete is the most consumed material on Earth. Concrete is a quintessential symbol of Western civilization. Why do concrete structures crumble within a few years or decades at most, while 2,000-year-old ancient roads, piers, and breakwaters, which you can see here, endure to this day, regardless of extreme weather conditions, and are stronger now than when they were first constructed? The Romans made concrete by mixing volcanic ash with lime and seawater to make a mortar, and then incorporating into that mortar chunks of volcanic rock, the aggregate in the concrete. Next slide. Modern Portland cement concrete also uses rock aggregate, but with an important difference. The sand and gravel particles are intended to be inert. Any temperature reaction with a cement paste forms gels that expand and crack the concrete. Our concrete is intentionally designed to fail. Next slide, please. That's the consumer waste heart of capitalism. Dung and mud have been effective construction materials across the continents for thousands of years, like adobe in the US Southwest and Castina homes in West Africa, keeping homes cool in summer and warm in winter. And of course, the Japanese have used dung for roadway construction as well. Consumer waste is the heart of capitalism. Next slide, please. We think sand is one of the driest substances, yet under particular conditions, it actually can produce and hold moisture. We think that snow is one of the coldest substances, yet under certain conditions, it actually can insulate our bodies, like with Eskimos' ice igloos. Sand reminds us of what we don't know. There is no such thing as waste until it is wasted, she says. The Latin word for salt and wisdom are the same. Salt is a symbol of conviviality, of working together for the best kinds of transformation. We will have to find an ethical way to desalinate our seawater, to build eco-cities, and promote zero waste, where all byproducts are reintegrated into use systems, she says. Image 22. I am nature, she says. And Einstein said, I am mosaic. Tagore said, the same stream that flows through my veins flows through the universe in rhythmic measure. And Hawking told us, everything we need to know is already within us, just waiting to be realized. I hear these words in my head. They speak to me and I listen, she says. I will trust you, I say. Pain, hope, magic, fragility of breath, the world we know is disappearing. Hold me, hold me. I need you. I need you. Oh, walk with me, talk with me, she cries. That's James Brown, I tell her. His story is a good story. I remember his voice, she says. End of story. And we can keep this on for a moment. Is there anybody here? No, we lost our other person. Isn't that amazing? Okay, so let's leave this on. And in the recording, Melanie, can you make sure this one stays for a while, even though there are no, do you have any questions? Not to put you on the spot.
Oh, no, I do actually. I was really
Okay.
curious if you could talk a little bit about like your process in coming up with these illustrations.
I had a text and actually, let me read this to you. I painted 70 images for this critically acclaimed climate justice book. The images focus on social justice in relation to ecological catastrophes. The main characters become increasingly aware of environmental and humanitarian crises as they travel the globe, witnessing the examples of social permaculture and symbiosis. Along the way, the main character, Zazu, who actually, Melanie, happens to be my grandson, learns from historic heroes, including Rachel Carson, Ibn Sina, Martin Luther King Jr., Jacques Cousteau, Harriet Tubman, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Doña Gracia Nasi, Saul Hashuel, Inayat Noor Khan, as well as 21st century villains like Nestle, Merck, Exxon, and Monsanto, big pharma, big oil, and agribusiness giants that stalk planet Earth. My illustrations protest corporatist plutocracy by emphasizing hybrid voices and cross-cultural knowledge that often that offer fertile responses to layered problems, because all these problems are interconnected, obviously. Rooted in both self-inquiry and infrastructural investigation, my illustrations offer seeds of personal and communal change. Consumer convenience culture comes at too high a cost to our bodies, health, and the health of our planet. Demonstrated in my images, Zazu discovers how our commonalities can help us live our ethics and repair what has been broken. Living our ethics means recognizing our own complicity as consumers while holding legislators and corporations and institutions like Penn State accountable. It means standing up for collective action, integrating simultaneous individual, community, and corporate mutual responsibility. My illustrations offer a reciprocal refuge, a place in space that reflects essentially who we are, echoing Ubuntu, the Xhosa people of South Africa's word meaning I am because you are, and the Mayan En Lak Ik, which means you are the other me. So it refers to a totally integrated cycle, regenerative cycle of life. But if you have a more specific question that I did not answer in that, I'd be happy to respond.
I was just curious what it was like for you in your studio space as you were actually creating it. Like what types of because I'm not a like I'm a digital artist. I'm not
Right.
like a traditional visual artist. So
Yeah.
are these like watercolor or
They're all gouache.
oh, okay.
They're all gouache, and they're all the originals are all approximately like maybe 14 by 16 or 14 by 18,
Oh,
maybe
wow.
14 by 18. Yeah. And so I took critical issues from the text, which had already been written, and I tried to combine as many issues simultaneously in um, one overall illustration.
Yeah, I can definitely see that in all the illustrations that you've done. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're really great, honestly.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Um, and then I wanted to ask also, so this is published. This is a physical book, correct?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
If I wanted to like read the physical book, is it at like the Penn State libraries for me to
It's
check
at the
out?
library.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. And I can send you some information on it. It's at the library. It's at SCLO. It's at Penn State Library. It's at Webster's bookstore.
Oh, okay.
Um, and I have some here. And it's all of the big Noam Chomsky and Bill McKibben and Paul Hawken and even Gandhi's grandson, Arun Gandhi, and a variety of other people from Penn State, um, James Wines and uh, Henry Giroux and a variety of other people endorsed the book.
Oh,
And
wow.
so the acclaim has been wide, national and international. And the author, Kara Judea Alhadeff, was summa cum laude through Schreier's here in 1994. And she was in science, technology, and society, women's studies, and School of Visual Arts, and combined all of those interests. And this is her second book. She's working on a fourth book right now.
Oh, that's exciting. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it's not easy to collaborate with your daughter, but she's a taskmaster, and I had to have things done quickly to be ready for. And one of the curious things is that big publishers, MIT and Duke and a few other, I'm forgetting the names, didn't want text and image simultaneously. They wanted text, but they didn't want so many images, because it would be a more expensive book. So it became a problem for someone who thought that image and text needed to be seen simultaneously. And so we just kept looking until we found an appropriate press. Do you have any other questions?
No, but that's really interesting what you said, just because we are in the cost room right now. So it's not
Yeah,
even just the environmental cost, but I thought it was
yeah,
interesting you talking about
yeah,
like people not even wanting to publish this because of the cost of like incorporating the text and image together. And I'm glad that you like really stuck it out to find someone who was willing to do that, because I agree it makes all the difference.
yeah. And also, Kara wanted this to be cross-generational. So this is something that parents can share with their young kids, and they can, you read it over several years so that they pick up new and they can learn, because there are how many, I think there are something like, I don't know, 30 pages of endnotes. So there are a lot of footnotes at the that you can read simultaneously with the text. So little young kids can keep learning with the same book, through the same book. And parents I mean, a lot of people think they already know all of this stuff, but our educational systems, our curriculums in from little kids all through graduate school really teach a small percentage of information that's actually out there on any given subject. And I think this book has received such broad appeal from people in the field, Bill McKibben and Paul Hawken particularly, because it's so layered with information. There's just so much information in it.